Astro Amigos. Welcome back to Astrology with Ninad. Jan 2026 is just around the corner. And in this video, I'm going to deep dive down into the monthly detailed horoscope prediction for the first month of 2026, which is January. I am going to cover several major life areas ranging from career, health, finance, education, travel, and much more. Before I get to the prediction part, let me take a few minutes to tell you the exact planetary alignment and positioning for this month so that we can get a better idea of how the energies are aligning. Starting with Jupiter, it will be transiting all month long in the sign of Gemini, which is Mithun Rashi. Saturn will be transiting all month long in the sign of Pisces, which is Meen Rashi. Rahu, the north node of the moon, will be transiting in the co-sign of Aquarius, Kumbha Rashi, that it rules alongside Saturn. Ketu, the south node of the moon, Rahu's counterpart, will be transiting all month long in the sign of Leo, which is Simha Rashi. That leaves us with Sun, Mercury, Venus, and Mars. So Sun, the king of planets, Mercury, the planet of communication, Venus, the planet of beauty, and Mars, the planet which is commander-in-chief of all the planets, will be pretty much conjunct together. This is a very important transit that is happening for pretty much the first half of the month. These four planets will be transiting in the sign of Sagittarius, Dhanu Rashi. But towards the middle part of the month, all these four planets will gradually move to the next sign of Capricorn, which is Makar Rashi, and continue to transit in Capricorn through the rest of the month. Finally, Moon, the fastest moving planet, will keep changing the constellation every 2 to 3 days. So you cannot really pinpoint its exact location because it will keep traversing through the zodiac at a very fast pace. So these are the alignments and position of the Navagrahas, the 9 planets. I have posted the timestamps in the description box below for your convenience, so you can click on the time that corresponds to your ascendant or moon sign and watch accordingly. My advice is to watch from both your ascendant, which is the Lagna Rashi, and moon sign, which is the Chandra Rashi, as they have impact on different aspects. Like ascendant sign predictions have impact on actual physical events in life, while moon sign predictions have a deep impact on the mind, emotions of a human being. So it is imperative to watch the prediction for both ascendant and moon sign so that you can have much better clarity for the month. So now, without wasting any further time, let's get started for the prediction part for all the 12 signs. For my Aries Mesh Rasi friends, let's start with the career area first for you this month. Your career lord Saturn, which controls your career area, will be transiting all month long in the 12th house in the sign of Pisces. Now, the sign of Pisces is a good sign for Saturn to be placed in. It is a mild sign ruled by none other than the most auspicious Graha, Jupiter. So that placement or the positioning in the constellation is fine, but it is finally the 12th house, which sometimes indicates foreign lands, permanent relocation, immigration abroad. It can mean changes. It can mean losing one thing but gain of something else, as in losing a job but gain of a new job, start of something new. And the last 2 weeks will be the most important though, because as I said, Mars, Venus, Mercury, Sun will pretty much all transit in the sign of Capricorn in your 10th house of career itself. Moon will also join them for a few days. So as you can see, there can be some really important transformation and changes that can take place in regards to your professional life in the latter half of Jan 2026. So best thing to do is keep a calm mind, avoid any impulsive, hasty decision making, because Sun and Mars, your ascendant Lord Mars and Sun, will both be very powerful here in the 10th house. Big Bali. They gain directional strength in the 10th house. So it is a good thing because your ascendant Lord will be exalted in the 10th house. So that can open up some new opportunities for you. Possible government type of jobs can also open up if you're looking for that, private companies and whatnot. So basically it is a month where some important changes can unfold, and if you're running the right kind of dasha bhukti, then mostly the change will be a favorable one, a positive one. So try to make the most of it, but again, avoid any sort of conflicts, disputes, office politics, sudden impulsive hasty decisions without properly thinking things through. That is the most important thing here. Business. If I talk about business area, then overall the time is looking excellent for business people, maybe to launch a new product, to start something new of their own, to start a self venture, a startup. The start of this year can be an excellent time to really hone in on your business plan, outline your goals and objectives for the rest of the year. Think of how you want to grow your business, what kind of service or products that you want to offer. Are you thinking of potential business partnerships, collaborations, business deals? What you need to implement in order to make that happen? This is the month to really construct a game plan for the future course of your business for the remainder of this new year. If I talk about finance, overall, the financial area is looking excellent throughout the month because your wealth lord Venus will be very well placed pretty much throughout the month. First in the trine house, then in the Kendra Bhava, in the center house. So, will be quite strong. Rahu in the 11th house, anyways, can give unimaginable amounts of wealth, depending again on your natal chart, Dasha Bhukti. But generally speaking, Rahu in the 11th house, that too in the co-sign of Aquarius that it rules alongside Saturn, is always a very positive thing. So financially, a very strong month, although there can be some expenses on the cards as well, because finally your 11th Lord Saturn will be in the 12th house. So you will need to find a balance between expenses, between how you want to control your spending, how can you cut down unnecessary expenses, how you can accumulate more wealth, how you can build up your finances. You need to start to focus on that. If I talk about health area, then overall health wise, this month is looking to be quite good. No major issues are seen because your ascendant lord Mars will be very powerful, exalted in the latter half of the month. Even when it's in the first half, it will be in the ninth house in the sign of Sagittarius, and Jupiter's direct aspect will be on Mars as well. So pretty much sound health is indicated throughout the month. Just in the latter part, in the second half of the month, take care of your chest region. If any of you suffer from any heart related ailments, then you need to be a bit more cautious. And even you can say the upper back region. If I talk about love life in terms of relationship area, the first 2 weeks are looking to be quite good and supportive for single people to meet potential matches. For couples already in a relationship, the time is looking quite amazing, especially in the first half of this month. But in the second half of the month, it is not a favorable time for the relationship area. Reason being, your fifth lord, Sun, will be placed 6 places away in the 10th house. Although directionally strong, whenever a planet is placed 6 places away from the house it rules, it can create disputes, obstructions, problems with the living significations of that house, which in this case is your romantic partner. Ups and downs in the relationship area are indicated in the second half of the month. And finally, even Ketu, the south node of the moon, is placed in your fifth house, which is not the most positive thing either, because finally it does signify detachment, isolation, and those sort of significations. If I talk about marriage, in terms of those people wanting to get married, the time is looking quite favorable for the same. If you actually want to settle down, tie the knot, get married, seal the deal, this month is looking favorable for that. And if you are running the right kind of major or minor planetary period, then marriage can be on the cards for you. Those couples already married will experience a lot of love, harmony, passion, bliss, and just a very good time in your married life. So enjoy it to its fullest. If I talk about travel, in terms of short distance travel journey, the entire month is looking favorable for the same, as well as long distance travel journey vacation. The time is looking to be quite good and supportive. Especially, there can be a lot of traveling long distance wise involved in the first half of the month. If I talk about education, in terms of primary education for those students pursuing high school bachelor's, the first 2 weeks should be quite easy. The last 2 weeks can put some pressure, whether it's related to examinations, whether it's related to a lot of homework. There can be some more built up pressure in the second half of the month. If I talk about the higher education aspect for those students pursuing master's, PhD program, postdoc, the time is looking to be excellent throughout the month. And even for those students who have aspiration to move abroad for higher education reasons, can have a very high likelihood of getting admission. Finally, children. So for those women looking to conceive, who are desiring to have a child, the first 2 weeks are slightly more supportive than the last 2 weeks. But again, finally, everything depends on your natal birth chart, the position of the fifth lord in your chart, where it is placed, in what nakshatra, in what constellation, whether it's exalted, debilitated, in a friend sign, in an enemy sign, in a neutral sign, whether it is degree wise strong, weak, are there any conjunctions, aspects on it? Is it Vargottam? How is its placement in the D9? Is it improving? Is it showing weakness? What dasha you are running? What antar dasha you are running? What pratyantar dasha you are running? What sukshma dasha you are running? What pran dasha you are running? So it really gets detailed if you want to get specific results. But from a general perspective, the first 2 weeks are looking to be more favorable than the last 2 weeks for the progeny area. Those people already having children will experience some good quality time with them in the first 2 weeks. Even in the last 2 weeks, there will be a lot of interaction, but there can be some arguments, disputes, possible quarrels on the cards as well. So you need to watch out for that. So I believe I covered all the major life areas for the first sign in the zodiac, which is Aries, Mesh Rasi. I hope you have a fabulous month and happy new year 2026. For my Taurus Vrishabh Rashi friends, let's talk about your career area first this month. Your career lord Saturn will be placed in the 11th house all month long, in the auspicious sign of Pisces, because Pisces is ruled by none other than the most auspicious planet, Jupiter. So basically, it is a mild sign, it is a soft sign. And that is good because when a malefic planet like Saturn is placed in a softer sign, it reduces its malefic effects to an extent. Also, it is in the 11th house, which is the house of benefits from the career area. Rahu, the north node, is also placed in your career house itself in the sign of Aquarius, which it is known to co rule alongside Saturn. So, Rahu's placement here is excellent. It can give tremendous growth and success that you never imagined in your wildest dreams. But again, a lot depends on how Rahu is placed in your natal chart, your 10th lord, its placement, position, and a lot of other factors. But generally speaking, this is an excellent position. And then Jupiter's aspect on it, on top of that, makes it even better because Jupiter is transiting in the second house in the sign of Gemini, from where it is aspecting your career house and even further controlling Rahu's energies to a great extent and channeling it in a very favorable way. There are not going to be any other afflictions on the career house either. The first 2 weeks, there can be sudden, unexpected things that can arise, but for the most part, it will be controlled and the situation will not go out of hand. If you are thinking of changing your job or taking an important career related decision, then better to do so, I will say, in the last 2 weeks of this month, because in the first 2 weeks, your ascendant Lord Venus will be placed in the eighth house. So when it transits to the ninth house of Bhagya, of destiny, fortune, luck, then it will be a better time to take an important career related decision. If you don't have a job, keep applying, giving lots of interviews because there is a very good chance you can land a new job opportunity this month, especially in the latter half. Coming to business area. Business wise, the first 2 weeks are going to be slightly sensitive in the sense that your business lord will be transiting in the eighth house. This aspect of Saturn will also be on it, but Jupiter's aspect will also be there. So the situation will again be controlled to a good extent. I don't see anything too concerning as such. But the last 2 weeks can be really promising, and some important business related changes can unfold because your business lord Mars will become exalted. It will become very powerful in the ninth house. So, some business related networking, travel, journeys might also be on the cards. Profits can increase, certainly, revenues can go up because, again, your business lord will become exalted, and that too in the ninth house. So, some really good positive transformations connected to the business area can take place. If you're thinking of starting a new business, then the last 2 weeks of this month are quite supportive for the same. Health, sorry, finance. In terms of finance, it is going to be a very, very good month for you. Jupiter in your wealth house, Saturn in the house of gains, being the 10th lord, indicates gains from your business, from your job, salary increment, bonus, promotion might definitely be on the cards this month for you. So utilize every opportunity that comes to you, make good investments, as you can also benefit from your past safe, stable, long term investments and other areas of life. but basically financially this month should be quite rewarding. If I talk about health area, health wise, the first 2 weeks can be slightly sensitive because your eighth house will be very much activated. So, especially do not neglect any type of chronic health issues. And even if you have any acute health issues, do not let those linger and become more chronic in nature. Try to address those issues at the onset itself. The last 2 weeks will show an improvement in the health area. You will start to feel more robust, your energies will increase, and your immunity will also become more stronger. If I talk about love life, in terms of love and relationship area, the last 2 weeks are going to be more supportive than the first 2 weeks. If you're single, you should actually refrain from dating or going on dates in the first 2 weeks, as it is not at all supportive. But last 2 weeks will see a change in the outcome. For those couples already dating, there will be some ups and downs. You might go through some uncertainties can rise in the relationship, but those can slowly be addressed by the third week onwards. Marriage, if I talk about those people wanting to get married, wanting to settle down, then the last 2 weeks this month is going to be supportive for the same, when your marriage lord Mars will become exalted in the ninth house of fortune, destiny, and luck factor. So, if you are running the right kind of major planetary period or minor planetary period or even the Pratyantar Dasha, then marriage can happen for you. So, if you're running like Jupiter, Mars, or Mars, Jupiter, or like Mars, Mercury, Mercury, Mars, like those sort of combinations, then marriage can definitely be on the cards for you. Those couples already married, there can be some testing times you might go through in the first 2 weeks. Some arguments, disputes, quarrels can be there, especially if you are running Saturn Dasha or Antardasha. It can be a bit more prevalent, but situation will again improve towards the second part of the month, and everything can be resolved and should be resolved in the second half of the month, because it will give you a good window of opportunity to resolve any pending issues at that point. If I talk about travel, in terms of short distance travel journeys, overall the month is going to be, geared more towards short distance travel in the second half of the month. And the same in a way applies for long distance travel journey and vacations. The last 2 weeks will be powerfully activating travel in general, but especially on long distance travel journey vacation. Be careful, do your due diligence. If you're going on major long journey, then maybe take a friend or family member or a relative with you. Try not to get into any sort of road rage or any sort of disputes, conflicts along the way. And if you are going on a long road trip by car, do not speed and drive your vehicle. If I talk about education, in terms of primary education for those students pursuing bachelor's, high school, this month can be a bit tough. So you will need to really put your focus together to be able to achieve any desired results. For those students pursuing higher education like master's, PhD program, postdoc, the time for the first 2 weeks is looking to be much more supportive than the last 2 weeks, as there can be some distractions, temptations on the cards in the last 2 weeks. You might even think of, like quitting your higher education goals and aspirations. But try to stick with your long term goals. Try not to just, give up hope, as this phase will also pass. Finally, children, in terms of those women who are wanting to conceive, who are desiring to have children, the last 2 weeks of this month will be definitely more favorable than the first 2 weeks. Again, a lot depends on your natal chart, the dasha, bhukti, pratyantar that you are running. But from a broad general perspective, the last 2 weeks will be more supportive. Finally, those people who already have children, overall, your relationship will gradually improve as the month progresses. There can be some ups and downs in the relationship area at the start of the month, but as again the month keeps moving forward, things will start to improve and get better. I believe I covered all the major life areas for my Taurus Vrishabh Rashi friends. I hope you got some good insight from this forecast. I hope you have a great month and a wonderful new year 2026. For my Gemini Mithun Rashi friends, let's start with your career area first this month. Well, Saturn, your ninth lord and also your eighth lord, will be transiting all month long in your career house itself. It is a good thing because finally it does control your ninth house of luck, fortune, destiny, Bhagyastan, and it is great friends with the ruler of your sign, Mercury. So overall, Saturn is a good planet for you, although it can, give you obstacles, hardships, challenges from time to time. But in due course, it will also give you tremendous growth, success, and opportunities as well. Here this month, Jupiter, which mainly controls your career house, is in your ascendant itself in a very good position. It is Digbali, meaning directionally very powerful in the first house, which represents the east direction. And Jupiter here also controls your Bhagyastan because it is aspecting the ninth house and Rahu, and also the fifth house, seventh house. So overall, Jupiter has a major control of your chart during this time. That is a good thing because again, Jupiter rules very important and crucial houses in your birth chart. Only in the first 2 weeks, you need to be slightly cautious in regards to your colleagues, your co-workers, people who are not your well-wishers. Try to keep them at a base distance. Do not involve yourself in office politics, gossiping, conflicts, quarrels, arguments with anyone, because Mars aspect will be on your career house on Saturn. So you need to be aware of that because sudden unexpected issues can arise if you are not careful. But generally speaking, it is going to be a very good month for you career wise, as there will be no major afflictions as such besides the aspect of Mars. But again, it won't be a bad aspect per se, but you just need to maintain caution. If you are unemployed, a very good chance again of landing a new job opportunity. And it can even be with a company you have worked in the past, because Jupiter, your career lord, will be retrograde all this month, this entire month. It will be Vakri. So things from the old can pop up. Your old supervisor, manager, boss, company can approach you again and ask you to join them. So you will need to make some decisions in this month and think what is the best way for you moving forward. Overall, some changes can be there and transformations related to career in the second half of the month due to your eighth house being very strongly activated. Be very careful in your email and written correspondence. In the last 2 weeks, check your email twice, thrice before clicking the send button. Very important this month. and just overall maintain consciousness of your speech, of how you are communicating, so that people don't take you the wrong way. Business wise, it is going to be a very powerfully activated month, especially in the first half, because you will literally have all this four planet conjunction: Venus, Sun, Mercury, Mars, even Moon joining it for a few days, Saturn's aspect, Jupiter's aspect, activating your business house. So, some major dramatic transformations can take place in the first half of the month connected to your business area, whether it's revamping your entire business structure, completely changing your goals, objectives, mission, values of your business, whether it is getting into new major business collaborations, partnerships, business deals, launching new products, offerings, services. There will be some major changes for the most part in the first half of the month. And that holds true more so if you are running the dasha or bhukti of Jupiter. If I talk about finance, then financially this month is going to be quite strong for you, because your inflow, the planet that controls your inflow of money, Mars, will be quite strong throughout the month. First, in the sign of Sagittarius, a fire sign, where it naturally gains strength due to it being a planet of Agni Tattva, fire planet. And then in the latter half, it will become exalted in the eighth house, where it will aspect the second house of wealth. So overall, financially, it can be a progressive month. It can be a month where your savings can grow, your wealth accumulation can rise. Just be careful with your investments in general in the second half of the month. Do avoid high risk speculative investments. Otherwise, there can be a chance for loss as well. If I talk about health area, overall health area should be good for the most part, although for some people, acute health issues can suddenly develop into more chronic type ailments, right? Or there can be, for some people, some acute health related emergencies as well. But it largely depends on what dasha, bhukti you are running, pratyantar. It you have to narrow down into that. But just take care of chronic related ailments, even acute health ailments. Do not ignore those this month, especially in the second half. But broadly speaking, it is going to be a good month for you. Just watch your diet, especially watch what you eat, how much you eat in moderation, and eat a well balanced, healthy diet to avoid complications. If I talk about love life, in terms of relationship area, a very powerful month in the first half due to your fifth lord, Venus, transiting in the seventh house of marriage. Means that for those people who are single and who are really wanting to get into a serious relationship that will hopefully lead to marriage down the road, it is an excellent month in the first half. Those couples already in a relationship, you can experience a lot of commitment. Like, you will get very serious about your partner, and you might even think of taking the relationship to the next level, especially again in the first half of the month. If I talk about marriage, for those people actually wanting to get married this month, the first half again is the best time this month for marriage area. But again, make sure your natal chart, your dasha bhukti support this. But even the second half of the month can be quite good, because finally Jupiter, the lord of the marriage house, is aspecting the marriage house itself, which is its own Mul Trikona Rashi, Sagittarius. So if you're running a favorable major and minor planetary period, then lo and behold, marriage can be on the cards for you. But just do not be too impulsive. If you have any sort of doubts in your mind, then do not rush into it. Those couples already married will experience a lot of passion, especially in the first half of the month. There will be a lot of love, romance, passion. In the second half of the month, the attention will shift more towards growing your joint assets, focusing on basically in laws. It could be to do with building more relationship with the in laws, spending more quality time with them. Maybe they are suffering from health issues and you might take care of them. So involvement with the in laws is definitely seen in the second half of the month. If I talk about travel in terms of short distance travel journey, the first 2 weeks are looking good, but not the last 2 weeks. So if you can avoid too much short distance travel in the last 2 weeks, it will be better for you. In terms of long distance travel journey and vacation, the entire month is looking excellent for major long distance travel and more specifically abroad. If I talk about education, in terms of primary education, those students pursuing high school bachelor's, the first 2 weeks or so are looking to be much, much better than the last 2 weeks. If I talk about higher education, for those students pursuing master's, PhD program, postdoc, the entire month is looking to be very favorable for the same. And if you put in your focus, concentration, and effort, you can achieve excellent academic progress. Finally, children, in terms of those women looking to conceive who are desiring to have a child, the first 2 weeks are going to be the most supportive, generally speaking, as compared to the last 2 weeks. Again, you will need to verify your birth chart and see how much it actually supports the progeny area. Finally, for those people already having children, the first 2 weeks are looking excellent for spending quality time with them. Your bonding will only increase. The last 2 weeks can see some slight ups and downs, some slight misunderstandings can happen. So be watchful and aware of that. I believe I covered all the major life areas for my Gemini Mithun Rashi friends. I hope you have a great month and also a very happy new year 2026. For my Cancer Karka Rashi friends, let's talk about your career area first this month. Well, your career lord, Mars, which happens to be a Yoga Karaka planet for you, is going to be placed quite well throughout the month. In the first half, it is going to be in the sixth house, in the Upachaya Bhava, in the growth house, where it tends to do extremely well, can help to defeat competition, can help to rise above your enemies, can help to stand amongst the crowd, can help to also clear interviews and land good jobs. In the latter half, it will become exalted in the sign of Capricorn. And from the seventh house, it will also aspect its own house of career. So, overall, a great month is seen career wise, a very progressive one. You should utilize each and every opportunity that comes to you. Keep working hard, stay focused. If you need to make any important career related decisions, then this can be a good month to do so. Just do not be very impulsive or hasty and take your time before making an important decision. If I talk about business, then overall the business area will be very much activated in the second half of the month because there will be all that conjunction in your house of business where Mars, Mercury, Sun, Venus, for a few days, even Moon will activate your business house. So, some important events can take place connected to your business area. whether you might do some financial revamp, structural changes, potential collaborations, deals, business partnerships that you might think of. But be very careful in general, as in make sure your natal birth chart, your dasha bhukti support taking any major important business decisions, especially concerning finances, like taking major business financial loans and even business partnerships. You need to be wary of that in the second half of the month, especially. If I talk about finance, then overall financially, this month in the first half is looking to be quite good and positive because Jupiter will impact this conjunction of planets, Mercury, Mars, Sun, Venus, and couple of those planets control your finances area. So overall, it will be a good time even to repay any loans you had taken in the past. You might also think of taking new loans, but make sure that again your natal chart supports that. Taking a small loan here and there is fine, but I'm talking about major loans, home loans, business loans. Then you need to be more careful along those lines. But overall, if you save wisely, if you utilize good financial money management skills, then you can have a good month financially. If I talk about health, overall health area is going to be good throughout the month pretty much, because Jupiter's blessings are on your all the dustana bhavas, basically 6th, 8th and 12th. So no major health concerns are foreseen as long as you use common sense approach to utilizing or adopting a healthy lifestyle every day. Then you're going to be doing just fine. If I talk about love life, in terms of relationship area, the first 2 weeks are not looking that great for the same, whether it's for single people hoping to find someone, whether it's for couples already dating. The last 2 weeks will see a very good change in that. Couples who are already been dating might think of taking the relationship to the next level, getting potentially married. Those people who are single will start to desire a very long term stable partner, and the approach will change from maybe wanting just someone casually to wanting to be with someone for the long term. In terms of marriage, for those people actually wanting to get married this month, it can be a good time. It depends again largely on your dasha bhukti that you are running. The first 2 weeks can be better, I will say, than the last 2 weeks. But even the last 2 weeks can be good. But again, this month is a bit, dicey in the sense that it largely depends upon your natal birth chart and what are its indications. It can be a hit or miss, basically, what I'm trying to say, looking from this transit and alignment. But if you want the best time for marriage, then it might be better to wait for Jupiter to enter the ascendant again and start aspecting the seventh house. That will again be the best time, actual most auspicious and favorable time for marriage related events. For those couples already married, there can be some major changes in your married life in the last 2 weeks of this month. Your perspectives might change, the way you approach your married life might change, some important events might unfold. There can be some discussions on how you can improve your married life. There can possibly even be, for some people, separations on the card. because Mars, the natural Karak, the significator of divorce, will be exalted in your seventh house. Although it is a very good planet for you, so it won't do much harm as it is a Yoga Karaka planet. But then you also have Sun, which controls your second house, which will not be in a good dignity in the seventh. And second house is family life. So basically, there could be some external influence from family, from relatives, which can cause some hindrance in the married life area. So, just some things to be aware of. If I talk about travel in terms of short distance travel journey, the time this month is mediocre, not too great, not bad either. If you have the option of working hybrid or remote, then I would do that if I was you. In terms of long distance travel journey and vacation, the time is looking to be good for the same throughout the month, pretty much. Just do your proper due diligence and research before embarking on major journeys. If I talk about education, in terms of those students pursuing high school bachelor's, the time is looking to be quite good for competitive examination studies and being able to clear those with good grades, as long as you, of course, put in the effort. In terms of higher education, for those students pursuing master's, PhD program, postdoc, the time is looking to be quite good throughout the month, and you can make excellent academic progress. And it can also be a key window of opportunity for those people who are looking to, pursue higher education in a foreign country. It is supportive for that. You might get admission to the desired college. Finally, children, for those women who are desiring to have a child, who are hoping to conceive, the second half of this month is looking quite strong. From a general perspective, the second half of this month is looking very powerful because the fifth lord will be exalted and will aspect your lagna itself. For those people already having children, there can be some slight arguments, quarrels on the cards in the first 2 weeks, some ups and downs, but things will keep improving as the month progresses. And the last 2 weeks can be quite good, where you might spend a lot of time, more than you thought, with your children. And if you're running a good dasha bhukti, then it will be a very good quality time that you will spend with your children. So I believe I covered all the major life areas for my Cancer Karka Rashi friends. I hope you have a nice month and a wonderful new year 2026. For my Leo Simha Rashi friends, let's talk about your career area first this month. Your career lord Venus for the first 2 weeks is going to be quite well placed. It will be in the fifth house, which is a trine house. And on top of that, Jupiter's aspect will also be on it, along with Saturn, which is also its best friend. So, overall, a lot of good growth and progression can be there in the first half. Even the second half of the month can be quite beneficial because although the transit will be in the sixth house, it is a growth house, it is a Upchaya Bhava. It is connected to improvement in daily work life routine. And if you yourself proactively make good positive changes and modifications to your everyday work life, then it will only get enhanced. This can be a great month for clearing interviews and getting a new job as well, especially in the latter half of the month. So, the more hard work and effort you put in, the more the success and rewards you will experience. Especially again in the second half, it is very important to put in the hard work and effort. But then the success will follow. Business. In terms of business area, this month can be quite good because Jupiter will help to control the energies of the business house where Rahu is transiting. So Rahu will most likely give good results. It can give major expansion, potential, collaboration, and new business deal opportunities. You might think of launching a new product. However, in the second half of the month, you will have increased competition. A lot of eyes will be on you, on your business, on your offerings. So the competition can heat up. But if you are determined, if you are consistent, then you can definitely override the competition and defeat your enemies as well. However, do not take any major uncalculated business risk and decisions, especially of the financial nature, or even when it comes to your subordinates, your employees. Treat them with respect and kindness. Do not be arrogant or rude to them, or that can basically backfire on you in other ways. But if you follow these basic principles, then you can have a very good month business wise. Finance. In terms of financial health this month, it is going to be quite a good month for you, especially the first half of Jan can see some gains from investments, from your past speculative investments. And in the second half of the month, it can be a good time to think about repaying any loans you have, or how you can basically become debt free. You need to start to think along those lines in the second half of the month. But overall, the money flow will be consistent, it will be good, and you will have plenty of it. If I talk about health, health wise, this month is going to be mediocre, not too great, not very bad either. Although the last 2 weeks can be slightly sensitive, so do take care of your health, drink plenty of water, stay hydrated, and just follow a healthy lifestyle, because the last 2 weeks where your ascendant Lord Sun will transit in the sixth house in the strong enemy sign of Capricorn. So you need to take some caution in those couple of weeks. If I talk about love life, in terms of relationship area, for those people who are single, the time is looking excellent, especially the first half of Jan can bring many opportunities your way, because your fifth house will be very much activated by all these planets: Sun, Mercury, Venus, Mars, for a few day moon in the fifth house, Jupiter and Saturn's aspect. So, several planets impacting your fifth house means that naturally, if you are proactive enough, you can come across good opportunities. For those couples already in a relationship can go through some transformations in the first half of the month. In the second half, if you do not resolve any pending issues, it can only increase. So try to resolve any pending issues in the first half of the month. If I talk about marriage, for those people actually wanting to settle down, actually wanting to get married, this month is looking to be good, especially the second half of this month, because I just realized that Mars will be aspecting the marriage lord Saturn for the first 2 weeks. So better to get married in the last 2 weeks of this month if possible. And of course, if your natal birth chart supports the same. For those couples already married, there can be some slight ups and downs, quarrels, disputes, arguments on the cards for the first 2 weeks, but slowly things can get settled down in the last 2 weeks, and more harmony and peace is indicated in from the third week onwards. If I talk about travel in terms of short distance travel journey, the month is overall looking to be good. I'm not seeing any major concerns as such, but just do not speed and drive your vehicle, especially in the last 2 weeks. In terms of long distance travel, journey, vacation, this month is looking good, especially in the last 2 weeks. If you want to embark on major long distance travel, journey, vacation, then it is the perfect time to do so. But just take care of your health when you go on major long distance travel. Make sure to eat and drink the right kind of food. Otherwise, possibility of getting sick cannot be ruled out, because it can cause you some acute health issues if you are not careful with your diet. If I talk about education, in terms of primary education for those students pursuing bachelor's, high school, the time is looking to be good, especially for clearing competitive studies and examinations in the latter part of the month. In terms of those students pursuing higher education like master's, PhD program, postdoc, this entire month is looking very favorable, good, and you can make excellent academic progress as long as you put in the hard work and effort, especially in the last 2 weeks of this month. Finally, if I talk about children, in terms of those women who are wanting to conceive, who are desiring children, this month can see some important developments that might happen due to your fifth house getting very strongly activated in the first 2 weeks. So it can even mean birth of a child. It can mean, for some women, complications in pregnancy. For some women, it can mean happiness, of the news of, they have conceived. So a lot of important developments can unfold depending again upon what type of dasha, bhukti you're running, your fifth house, and whatnot. If I talk about those people already having children, then your relationship might undergo some major transformations in the first 2 weeks. If there are any pending issues, get those resolved in the first 2 weeks itself. Do not let those linger, or it can create some more problems in the last 2 weeks. But overall, due to Jupiter's beneficial aspect on its own fifth house, for the most part, relationship with your children is going to flourish. So I believe I covered all the major life areas for my Leo Simha Rashi friends. I hope you have a great month and a wonderful new year 2026. For my Virgo Kanya Rashi friends, let's start talking about your career area first. Well, this entire month, Jupiter will be transiting in your career house itself. That is a blessing in and of itself, due to Jupiter naturally signifying luck, fortune, destiny. And then you have Rahu in the sixth house in the sign of Aquarius, which is an excellent placement, can help to defeat your competition, you know, defeat your enemies, clear any interviews easily, ace those interviews, land your desired dream job. And especially in the first 2 weeks, there can be some major developments career wise, because from the fourth house, Mars, Sun, Mercury, Venus, and even Moon for a few days will all aspect the 10th house of career where Jupiter is placed. And all these aspects will be good aspects for the most part. But of course, Mars aspect is a bit dicey due to it controlling your eighth house. But overall, if you're running a favorable dasha bhukti, which is the major planetary period and minor planetary period, then there can be some really good developments, some good transformation and changes in your career area. That can mean a bonus, promotion, salary increment. It can mean a job transfer to a different department, or a desired job transferred to a different location. It can mean, quitting one job but gain of a new job. It can mean elevation to a very high position within your organization. It can also mean people recognizing your hidden talents, skills, abilities, people appreciating the way you explain things, the way you the knowledge that you impart, your leadership skills will become very sharpened, enhanced. People will start to notice you, follow you, seeking advice and good counsel from you. So all these type of changes can take place. If I talk about business area, then overall business wise, this month, for the last 2 weeks can be good, but in the first 2 weeks be very careful. Avoid getting into new business partnerships, avoid doing new business deals, avoid any sort of new business undertakings in the first 2 weeks. In the last 2 weeks, then you can slowly start to map out the game plan for your business goals, vision, objectives for the rest of the year. So the last 2 weeks can be a great time for you to really think about how you want to take your business further, what you need to do in order to implement that. If I talk about financially, this month is going to be strong for you because overall, the lord of the wealth house will be directionally very strong in the first 2 weeks. In the last 2 weeks, it will be in the fifth house, from where it will aspect the 11th house of gains. So overall, you can benefit from your past investments, from speculative type investments, from real estate, property, sale of vehicles, those sort of things. Even from the career area, there can be a bonus, promotion, and salary increment on the cards for some people. But especially in the last 2 weeks, be very careful with your investments, especially high risk speculative investments like penny stock, cryptocurrency, stock market. Unless you really, really know what you're doing, you are running a very favorable dasha bhukti, try to steer clear from high risk speculative investments. If I talk about health area, health area is going to be excellent throughout the month. I am not seeing any sort of concerns as such. Although in the second half of this month, some chronic health issues can come to the surface and can need some attention. But if you address it in a timely manner, it can, help you to actually recover from any, lingering chronic health issues that have been troubling you. If I talk about love life in terms of love and romance area for single people, the second half of this month can be very crucial, as you can come across some really good opportunities if you are especially hoping to meet a partner and thinking about the long term, thinking about being with this person for the long haul. Because your fifth house is naturally ruled by Saturn, which represents long term stability and permanence. And it is now transiting in the seventh house of marriage itself. If I talk about those couples already in a relationship, then this can be a very powerful month to really prioritize and think about where you want to take your relationship moving forward in the next 6 months, in the next 1 year or so. Moving on to marriage, for those people wanting to actually getting, married, wanting to settle down, this month can be a good month in the last 2 weeks, but again depends largely on your dasha bhukti. But it might not be the best time for single people to just find someone and get married, but it can actually be a good time for those people already who have been dating for a long time, who have been in a relationship for a long time. It is actually a good time for these type of people to get married this month. Again, make sure your dasha bhukti, your natal chart supports that. For those couples already married, the first 2 weeks, there can be some major hurdles, obstacles that you might face. Some sudden, unexpected events can unfold. But the last 2 weeks, everything should settle down. Everything can certainly get resolved as well. If I talk about travel in terms of short distance travel journey, this month is looking to be quite good from that perspective, and there can actually be a lot of short distance travel involved in the second half of the month. If I talk about long distance travel journey and vacation, As long as you do your proper due diligence and research before you embark on major long distance travel, you should be absolutely fine. If I talk about education, in terms of primary education, for those students pursuing high school bachelor's, the time is looking very favorable pretty much throughout the month. And in terms of higher education, for those students pursuing, master's, PhD program, postdoc, the time is again looking very favorable as long as you put in the hard work and effort. Without that, do not expect any good results. If I talk about children, for those women who are looking to conceive, who are desiring to have a child, the last 2 weeks of this month can be a game changer for some women. For some other women, it can indicate complications in pregnancy, hardships in the progeny area, because finally the eighth lord and the 12th lord will also impact the fifth house. So it is important for you to get good, healthcare advice, treatment, and suggestion from trusted doctors and medical professionals as well. Very important this month. Finally, for those people already having children, your relationship with your children can and probably will undergo some turbulence in the second half of the month. Some pending issues that were lingering for a while can be brought up to the surface and might need to be resolved. Potential misunderstandings can happen. So be aware of that in general. So I believe I covered all the major life areas for my Virgo Kanya Rashi friends. I hope you have a nice month and a very happy new year 2026. For my Cancer Karka Rashi friends, let's talk about your career area first this month. Well, the latter half of the month is going to be quite a game changer for you in many respects. Reason being, your career house will be impacted by major planets such as Mars, Sun, Mercury, Venus, and even Moon for a few days. So, this five planet conjunction can really bring about some transformations in your career area. And it depends largely on what type of dasha and bhukti you're running. But basically, Mars and Sun's aspects, particularly, will be very powerful here because those will be directionally very strong aspects on the 10th house. And especially Sun's aspect. And Sun finally controls your 11th house of desires, gains, and wish fulfillment. So, if you have had any long term desires of changing a job or applying for a bonus, promotion, salary increment, or getting a job transferred to a different location, to a different department, or you want to get a job in a foreign country abroad, you want to relocate and immigrate, then this month can be quite the interesting month for you. If you play it wisely to your advantage, it can it can unfold pretty much in your favor for the most part. Unless again you are running a very malefic dasha bhukti, and those planets are not well placed in your chart, then the consequences can be different. But generalized perspective here indicates some really good changes can happen in your career if you are open to it, if you are proactive enough, and you are willing to capitalize on each and every opportunity that comes your way. Some fame recognition can also be on the cards, and your reputation can also rise during this time because your ascendant lord will be Digbali, from where it will also aspect the career house, Venus. So there are some really key transformations that are on the cards and can take place this month in the professional life. If I talk about business area, business wise, also it is going to be mostly a positive month for you. And especially the second part of the month can be a game changer, because your business lord Mars will become exalted and it will aspect the business house itself, which is its own sign. So naturally, some major dramatic transformations in the business area, whether it is new business partnerships, collaborations, sponsorships, deals, business expansion, starting to offer a new product, service, whatever, these things can unfold this month. So overall, a very profitable and you know progressive month is seen for business area, and especially even for those people who want to start a new business, this month can be supportive. Of course, make sure to check your natal chart for the same. If I talk about finance, financially, this month is going to be quite a good month for you, because your wealth will grow. Your wealth accumulation, your savings, your bank balance can certainly grow. But in the last 2 weeks of the month, there can be slight hiccups in the inflow of money, as in the money that comes your way, you might put it towards buying a new car, a vehicle. You might put it towards buying new luxury home decor, furniture, or even property, buying a property or something like that. So you might feel a bit pinch in the inflow of money because you are utilizing it and applying it in a different direction. If I talk about health area, then overall health wise, it is going to be an excellent month for you. I am not seeing any sort of concerns. Health area is looking to be very stable and solid for you. So you will have ample energy and a lot of vitality, and you will enjoy life because you will be very healthy. If I talk about love life, so for single people, an excellent month to meet new potential matches and go out on dates and all those things. It is very much supported. And in terms of uh, those couples already in a relationship, you will again have a fantastic month with your partner and enjoy it to its fullest. If I talk about marriage, for those people wanting to actually getting married, wanting to settle down, the last 2 weeks of this month is looking to be very strong, where actually marriage can take place for some people due to the marriage lord becoming exalted and aspecting the marriage house itself. So overall, from a generalized perspective, a very favorable time for the same. For married couples, the time is looking very favorable. You will have an excellent married life, lot of good communication, open, honest communication, and a lot of love, romance, passion on the cards as well as seen in the last 2 weeks. If I talk about travel in terms of short distance travel journeys, the time is pretty much good throughout the month, and there will be a lot of travel, especially in the first half of the month, and it can actually bring about some important changes in your life as well. Some important events can unfold related to some travel. If I talk about long distance travel journey and vacation, the time is again looking phenomenal throughout the month, and you should certainly embark on the same. If I talk about education in terms of primary education for those students pursuing high school bachelor's, the first 2 weeks are looking to be much more better than the last 2 weeks, because in the last 2 weeks there can be some events, potential events that can unfold. For some people it can be positive, for other people can be challenging. Especially avoid any sort of unethical behavior, like cheating, like doing anything which might get you in trouble, because if you do, then certainly the planetary alignment can get you in trouble as well. In terms of higher education, for those students pursuing master's, PhD program, postdoc, the time is looking excellent pretty much throughout the month. And for some people who are desiring to go abroad for higher education, can have their wishes fulfilled in the first half of the month. Finally, children, for those women looking to conceive who are desiring to have a child, pretty much throughout the month, the time is supportive due to Jupiter's aspect on the fifth house, which is its own sign, own Rashi of, sorry, it's not its own sign, where Rahu is placed in its own sign, which it co rules alongside Saturn, which is Aquarius. And Jupiter's beneficial blessings are on the house, means a good indication for the most part, although some minor complications cannot be ruled out due to the fifth lord transiting in the sixth house. And if your fifth house is afflicted in the natal chart itself, then some more intense complications cannot be ruled out either. Overall, if you have children already in your life, then the relationship with your children for the most part will be smooth, harmonious, and peaceful. Unless you are running a malefic dasha bhukti, then there can be some quarrels and arguments on the cards as well. So I believe I covered all the major life areas for my Libra Tula Rashi friends. I hope you have a good month and a wonderful new year 2026. For my Scorpio Vrishchik Rashi friends, let's talk about your career area first. Well, this month, your career lord, Sun, will be for the most part quite well placed. For the first half of the month, it will be in the second house, in the fire sign of Sagittarius, which is its natural element, due to it itself being a fire planet, a planet which signifies the Agni Tattva. In the second half of the month, it will transit to the enemy sign of Capricorn. However, it will be in the third house, which is a solid placement for this planet. Since it is a Upachaya Bhava, it is a growth house. So overall, you can have a very growth-oriented and progressive month for the most part. If you're unemployed, there are strong chances you can clear interviews and land a new job opportunity. Chances of a bonus, promotion, salary increment are also on the cards. However, in general, be slightly cautious in terms of driving back and forth to your job, driving your vehicle in the second half of the month, and also in terms of your overall communication with anyone and everyone, and especially written forms of communication like email. Read the email twice, thrice before clicking the send button. Very important to be aware of this month. But to summarize, overall, again, a very good and progressive month, although you might not be that attached to the results due to Ketu transiting in your 10th house. So you might just, get a lot of appreciation, recognition, and all that good stuff, but you will still be a bit detached from those results. And for some people, there can be slight trouble from enemies or competitors or colleagues. So be watchful of that as well. Business wise, it is going to be overall a slow and steady month for the most part, although in the first half of the month, there can be some profits and increased revenues you might see in your business area. In the second half of the month, it can be a good time for collaboration, for networking, for attending important business related seminars, conferences, events, and those sort of things. Even for business negotiation, business dealings, any sort of business dealings where communication is important can be done in the second half of the month. Financially, this month is going to be good for the most part because wealth will have solid support of the wealth lord Jupiter itself all month long. The ruler of the house of gains, Mercury, will also be quite well placed throughout the month. No issues there. Just in the first half of the month, be very careful in terms of your overall financial investments. Avoid making any wrong kind of decisions related to your finances, like high risk speculative investments, gambling, betting. Those sort of high risk financial ventures should be avoided. If I talk about health wise, it is going to be quite a good month for you, because your ascendant lord Mars itself will be strongly placed throughout the month. First in the sign of Sagittarius, which is a friendly sign, then in the exaltation sign of Capricorn, that too in the third house. Sun will also be well placed. So overall, Jupiter's presence in the eighth house is from there aspecting the 12th house. So good cure related to medical illnesses, hospitalization, which can help you on the road to recovery, and basically all sorts of health issues can be possibly resolved during this month. If I talk about love life, for the relationship area, for single people, it is not the best month, especially the first 2 weeks are not ideal at all, and the last 2 weeks could be mediocre. Whereas for those couples already in a relationship, this month can, there can be some ups and downs, a lot of arguments, quarrels, disputes can be on the cards in the first half of the month, whereas the situation can improve to some extent in the second part of the month. Marriage, in terms of those people actually wanting to get married, this month is looking to be mediocre, not too great, not bad either. It depends on what dasha, bhukti, pratyantar you are running. If it is favorable, if your chart is indicating marriage, then certainly marriage can also be possible. Whereas for those couples already married, the first 2 weeks can result in some slight ups and downs in your relationship, but the latter part of the month can give you a good window of opportunity to honestly talk it out with your spouse, be transparent, and keep the communication lines open. If I talk about travel, in terms of short distance travel journey, the second half of the month can involve a lot of that. So be aware. Whereas in the first half of the month, try not to speed and drive your vehicle. It is very important. Whereas for long distance travel journey and vacation, the time period is looking to be more or less supportive for the most part. Abroad related travel can be quite good. Just make sure to properly plan out your trip, do your research and due diligence before embarking on that. Education wise, for primary education students, such as those pursuing high school bachelors, the time will be good if you remain focused, you don't give in to temptations and distractions. You will achieve very good academic progress. Whereas for those students pursuing higher education like master's, PhD program, postdoc, the time is also looking good for the most part, especially the last 2 weeks. There can be a moment in that area. So if you have been seeking admission to a college, finally it can come through for you and you can get admission to the desired college in the last 2 weeks, and you can be on your way to pursuing your goals and objectives related to higher education. Finally, children, in terms of those women looking to conceive who are desiring to have children, this month is not ideal, to be honest. It is a weaker month. Especially the first 2 weeks are not at all favorable. Now, if your natal chart is indicating a lot of support, then things can change. But from a generalized perspective, it is not the best time. For those people already having children, there can be some ups and downs in the relationship with them. Especially the first 2 weeks are looking slightly more sensitive, although the situation can be remedied to an extent in the last 2 weeks. I believe I covered all the major life areas for my Scorpio Vrischik Rashi friends. So I hope you have a nice month and a wonderful new year 2026. For my Sagittarius Dhanu Rashi friends, let's talk about your career area starting this month. So your career lord Mercury, for the most part, will be quite well placed throughout the month. In the first half, it will be directionally strong in the first bhava itself. Then it will transit to the second house in the friendly sign of Capricorn. It will also be conjunct with good friends Venus, Mercury, so that's a bonus. Overall, it can be quite a stable and progressive month for you if you choose to, because Saturn's direct aspect will also be there on your career area. So if you are going to be committed, dedicated, loyal, and putting in the time, effort, energy towards your tasks, duties, assigned projects, then you will have a very good and upward moment type of month concerning your career, because you will start to get recognition. People will start to notice your work, your superiors, your managers. There can also be chances of talks of potential bonus, promotion, salary increment on the cards for you, because of the 11th lord transiting in the second house in the latter part of the month. Can be a great time for clearing interviews and getting a new job as well. So overall, the month is fruitful for the most part, as long as you are not too impulsive in your decision making and you do not get involved into unnecessary arguments, quarrels, and office politics. If I talk about business area, business wise, it is an excellent month, because Jupiter itself transiting in your business house means that new opportunities, chances of growth, expansion already there. Your business lord Mercury also, as I mentioned before, quite well placed throughout the month. You can possibly see some enhanced profits, increased revenues in the second part of the month. Although it is not advisable to get into business partnerships, enter new business agreements in the second half of the month if possible. The first half of the month will be ideal to, take any sort of important business decisions. If you need to, collaborations, networking, all those sort of things will be largely supported. But overall, a well balanced and optimistic month is seen for business area. If you're thinking of starting a new business, then the first half of Jan can be quite a good time to do so. Of course, make sure to verify if your natal chart is supporting the same. If I talk about finance, then financially, quite a good month due to Venus transiting favorably for the most part throughout this month. Your wealth lord Saturn also being, doing good in transiting in a good nakshatra, transiting in a good house, in a good sign. So overall, financially, you will be doing just great. In the second half of the month, though, be careful with your investments. Avoid high risk speculative investments, gambling, betting, cryptocurrency, those sort of high risk stuff you need to be cautious from, as a lot of planets will enter your second house, from where they will impact your eighth house, which can mean sudden losses or gains in an unexpected manner. If I talk about health wise, you will have a very good month, because your ascendant lord Jupiter itself will keep aspecting your lagna, which will strengthen your vitality, immunity. You will feel robust, you will feel active, healthy to do all your activities. You will have surplus energy. And in the second half of the month, though, some possible chronic or acute health issues could arise depending on the kind of dasha, antardasha you are running. If you are running a good dasha bhukti, then your health will remain great. But if you are running a very malefic dasha bhukti, if the sixth, eighth houses in your chart are afflicted, then there could be some slight issues. If I talk about love life for single people, this month can be good for potentially going on dates and trying to meet new people. Especially the second half of the month can be quite powerful, where your fifth lord will become exalted. So overall, a very, very positive month for from the dating perspective, from the relationship point of view. And even the same applies for those couples already dating. You will have a wonderful time this month, especially when Mars becomes exalted and aspects the fifth house itself. Your, you know, relationship will be filled with a lot of passion, intensity in a good way. If I talk about marriage in terms of those people wanting to actually get married, the first 2 weeks are looking extremely auspicious for the same. If your natal chart, major and minor planetary period are supporting, then marriage can certainly happen this month for you. And for those couples already married, then it is going to be a blissful and enjoyable time for the most part. You can travel, you can explore, you can go on adventures, you can go on romantic dates, outings. It will be a favorable time. However, in the last 2 weeks, there can be some slight ups and downs, although nothing too concerning. But try not to let things go out of hand unnecessarily. If I talk about travel in terms of short distance travel journey, the time pretty much throughout the month is looking good, especially in the last 2 weeks. Whereas for long distance travel journey and vacation, the first 2 weeks are only favorable, not the last 2 weeks. So if you can refrain from going on major long distance travel in the last 2 weeks, it will be better for you. Finally, or sorry, if I talk about education, in terms of those students pursuing primary education like high school, bachelor's, the time is looking to be very good, at least in the last 2 weeks, and you can make very good academic progress if you put in the hard work and effort. Whereas for higher education, those students pursuing master's, PhD program, postdoc, the first 2 weeks will be amazing. You will make excellent academic progress, whereas the last 2 weeks are not looking that favorable. So be aware. The last 2 weeks can bring about some unexpected challenges. Finally, children, for those women looking to conceive who are desiring to have a child, this month is very strong indeed for the same. From a generalized perspective, you need to verify your birth chart to see if it supports the progeny area. But from a generalized perspective, it is looking very strong this month. Whereas for those people already having children, this is a great month to spend time with your children, to connect with them, to bond with them even further. Especially the last 2 weeks can be an amazing time for you to go on outdoor activities with them, go on a picnic, go to an amusement park, recreation sports facility, and just expend energy, spend time with them, and have a good family quality time. So I believe I covered all the major life areas for my Sagittarius Dhanu Rashi friends. So I hope you have a great month of Jan 2026 and a very happy new year to you and to your family. For my Capricorn Makar Rashi friends, let's start talking about your career area this month. Professionally, this month can be a mixed bag result. The first half of the month can be slightly challenging. Although, if you are based abroad, away from your birthplace, from your native place, then you can make tremendous progress due to your career lord Venus transiting in the 12th house and receiving the aspect of Jupiter. However, if you are in your homeland, in your home country, in your birthplace area, and you're working from there, then there can be some challenges, disputes, hurdles, and obstacles you might face. But if you're running, let's say, Jupiter Dasha or Bhukti, then I do not see any major issues. But if you're running a more malefic Dasha, then there can be slight challenges. In the last 2 weeks, though, it will be a very good time for you career wise. You will see some very positive transformations and changes that can take place. Jupiter's aspect on the career house, Venus starting to transit in your ascendant itself, in the first house, in the Lagna. That means, sky is the limit as to how much you want to achieve, because Venus is finally a yoga karaka planet for you. It is going to give very good results in the first house. Your ascendant lord itself, Saturn, is transiting in the third house, which means parakram. So if you keep working hard, stay focused, put in your self effort, be brave, courageous, go after what you want in terms of goals and objectives for your career, then you are going to be a force to be reckoned with. And especially the first 2 weeks again can be a great time for foreign relocation, immigration to a foreign country. If you are, if you have always desired that, and then if you apply to jobs, there are strong chances of getting a new job opportunity overseas. So it is one of the best times for that in the first half of the month. And second half of the month is amazing professionally, whether you're in the home country, foreign land, it doesn't matter. Business wise, the second half of the month can see some major transformations and changes that can take place, because a five planet conjunction impacting your business house, which means that if you're running the right kind of major and minor planetary period, overall you should see some good changes happening in your business area. If you're running a more problematic dasha bhukti, then there can be some hurdles that you might have to face. But especially if you are running sun major or minor planetary period, sun mahadasha or bhukti, then you will need to maintain extra caution. There can be sudden unexpected challenges, possibly from the government, possibly from higher ups, some legal type of challenges or financial challenges that your business might also have to face. Even regulatory challenges you might have to undergo. If I talk about finance, then financially, this month is going to be good for the most part, especially in the second half of the month, where your 11th Lord Mars will become exalted in your ascendant itself. So that can mean profit from real estate, properties, fixed assets, immovable assets. It can mean sale of a vehicle and you get money that way. It can mean possible bonus, promotion, salary increment from your job. Or maybe if you change your job, then you get a much higher paying job with added perks, benefits, and all those kind of things. So financially, this month will keep improving as it progresses. Health, health wise, I am seeing no major challenges as such. The first 2 weeks can be slightly sensitive when Saturn will be aspected by Mars, although nothing too concerning as such is seen. So if you use common sense everyday lifestyle techniques, eating a good, healthy, well balanced diet, having a healthy lifestyle in general will help to mitigate any sort of major issues, and your health should remain good for the most part. Most importantly, because Saturn, your ascendant lord, will be very strongly and auspiciously placed in the third house. But if you are running again sun major or minor planetary period, then in the second half of the month there can be some health issues or potential hiccups that you might face. If I talk about love life, for those single people who are wanting a relationship, the second half of the month is looking excellent for the same, and you can come across some really great opportunities to connect with suitable matches. For those couples already in a relationship, overall the month is looking great. The first half of the month you will enjoy a lot of passion, love, romance, sensuality with your partner, whereas the last 2 weeks are also going to be excellent. If there are any pending issues that need to be addressed, those can be resolved and you can be back on the same page moving forward. So an excellent time for couples who are dating as well. If I talk about marriage, so for those people wanting to actually settle down, this month is, it can be good. It depends on whether your natal birth chart, your major and minor planetary period are supportive for the same. If it is, then marriage can be on the cards for you, especially in the last 2 weeks of this month. But if I was you, I would be a bit more cautious because the eighth lord will be aspecting the seventh house. So you need to be a bit cautious this month and wait for a more suitable time if possible. However, there are chances of connecting with a potential partner where you might start seeing each other and even get committed. For those couples already married, the time will be quite good in the first 2 weeks. In the last 2 weeks, there can be some problems that might come back to the surface if they were kind of put in the background. They might, need to be addressed. You might need to resolve a few things here and there. So transparent communication will be the key here to keep communicating, not keeping anything in the dark, being honest and upfront with your spouse, and that should hopefully mitigate any major issues. If I talk about travel in terms of short distance travel journey, the time is looking to be quite good in the last 2 weeks of the month, although even the first 2 weeks are not looking too bad. However, do not speed and drive your vehicle especially in the first 2 weeks. In terms of long distance travel journey and vacation, this month is looking to be quite good. If you do your proper planning, due diligence, then you can certainly embark on major long distance travel, specifically abroad to foreign lands. If I talk about education in terms of primary education for those students pursuing high school bachelor's, the last 2 weeks of this month will be the most auspicious as compared to the first 2 weeks. But if you are a student studying abroad in a foreign land, then you will have an excellent month throughout. If I talk about higher education, those students pursuing master's, PhD program, postdoc, you will have a very good time this month, pretty much. But you will have to be very focused and you will have to put a lot of effort in your studies, in your research, in your academics. And that is the only way you can reap the rewards. If I talk about children, for those women who are desiring to have children, who are looking to conceive, then the last 2 weeks of this month are looking to be more supportive than the first 2 weeks from a generalized perspective, not not taking your natal birth chart into consideration. The last 2 weeks will be more favorable. Finally, for those people already having children, there can be slight ups and downs in the relationship with them for the first 2 weeks. They might even be traveling and they might, you might feel some sort of distance between you and them. But in the last 2 weeks, everything will be resolved. They will be back close to you. Your bonding will grow, increase, and overall, the affection, affinity towards each other will also flourish. So I believe I covered all the major life areas for my Capricorn Makar Rashi friends. I hope you have a really nice month and a wonderful Happy New Year 2026. For my Aquarius Kumbha Rashi friends, let's start with your career area first this month. Well, for the first half of the month, you will have your career lord Mars transiting in the 11th house alongside Venus, Mercury, Sun, even Moon will join it for some days. So basically, the first half is looking very strong since the 11th house is mainly connected to gains, desires, benefits connected to the career area since it is 2 places away from the 10th house of profession. So, chances of a bonus, promotion, salary increment, long term unfulfilled career related desires can now start to fructify. However, in the last 2 weeks, all these planets will shift towards the 12th house in the sign of Capricorn. So, at this time, Those people who are abroad, who are living in a foreign land away from their birthplace and working, can experience some drastic positive shifts in their workplace, whether it is getting appreciation, recognition, credit for the work that they do, or whether it is getting promoted to a very high level position. Chances of visa related issues getting resolved. Those people who are wanting to settle permanently abroad can finally, their dreams might get realized. So these sort of things can happen this month, but overall, it is looking to be a good month. Especially if you want to give interviews, try to do that in the first 2 weeks if possible, rather than the last 2 weeks. Business, in terms of business area, the first 2 weeks are again looking to be much better, more supportive for business purposes, activities than the last 2 weeks, where you should really maintain more caution and avoid any sort of high risk financial business undertakings in the last 2 weeks. Definitely avoid getting into business partnerships. If you already have a business partner, avoid complicating your business relationship by getting involved into disputes, lawsuits, litigations, and all these sort of things. Especially in the last 2 weeks, be very careful. Finance, in terms of financial health, this month is looking to be quite strong in the first half. As I mentioned, lot of planets activating your 11th house, including Saturn and Jupiter. So naturally, some important developments connected to your financial area can take place, whether it is you making new investments, whether you realizing gains from your past investments, whether you're analyzing your investment strategy. Whereas the last 2 weeks can see some expenses on the cards, some sudden outflow of money. It can be for things that you enjoy as well, not just it has to be for something negative. But overall, be prepared that last 2 weeks can involve some more expenses than you are accustomed to due to the major conjunction of all these 4 or 5 planets in your 12th house. And that can even relate to travel expenses abroad, vacation, even medical expenses for some people, hospitalization, those kind of things. Even charity, donation, dan, dharma, seva, right? If I talk about health area, then health for the most part is going to be quite good. I am not foreseeing any major concerns as such, unless you are quite old and you are already suffering from any health issues. Then the last 2 weeks can result in possible hospitalization, medical expenses, visits to the doctor, and so forth. But if you are fairly young, you are healthy, you're fit, then you are going to have a very good month health wise. If I talk about love life in terms of relationship for single people who are desiring that, this month can certainly offer great opportunities, and especially the first 2 weeks are going to be much, much more positive than the last 2 weeks. And chances of connecting with a good compatible match is a high probability in the first 2 weeks. If I talk about those couples already in a relationship, overall, you will experience a lot of good love, peace, understanding, harmony in your relationship. Although the last few weeks can result in some ups and downs that you might experience, although the passion, the love, romance will definitely be there. Marriage, if I talk about those people wanting to actually getting married, this month, then the first 2 weeks are looking good. And if you're running the right kind of dasha and bhukti, then marriage can be on the cards for you. But if you are not, then be careful. And especially in the last 2 weeks, definitely avoid marriage related activities. It is not favorable. For those couples already married, the first 2 weeks are going to be blissful for the most part, very happy, enjoyable. Whereas the last 2 weeks, there can be some major ups and downs, obstacles that you might feel, some detachment, alienation, isolation, You might want your alone time, but your spouse wants to have more quality time, and there can be differences of opinion and whatnot. So be aware of that in the last 2 weeks. If I talk about travel in terms of short distance travel journey, the first 2 weeks are looking much better than the last 2 weeks. So if you can avoid too much short distance travel in the latter part of the month, it will be better for you. So if you have the option of working like hybrid or remote, take up on that. If I talk about long distance travel journey and vacations, the time is looking to be good pretty much throughout the month. So you can certainly embark on that. In terms of education, primary education for those students pursuing high school bachelor's, the time for the first 2 weeks are looking to be much, much better than the last 2 weeks. The last 2 weeks can prove to be quite challenging, so you will need to really focus on your priorities and get those aligned if you want to make good progress in your studies. In terms of higher education, for those students pursuing master's, PhD program, postdoc, the pretty much entire month is looking to be good, especially if you are living abroad in a foreign land and you're pursuing higher education, then you will make excellent academic progress. If I talk about children, for those women who are desiring to have a child, who are looking to conceive, the time in the first 2 weeks again is quite good, quite favorable from a generalized perspective due to Mercury aspecting the fifth house where Jupiter is placed. So that is creating a good yoga for the ability to conceive, again, from a generalized perspective, not taking your birth chart into account. If you already have children, then the first 2 weeks are going to be fabulous. You will spend a lot of good quality time with them. But the last 2 weeks, you can possibly see that they might be traveling, they might move to a different location. There can be some distance that you might feel in your relationship with your children. And here I again keep splitting between first 2 weeks, last 2 weeks, because of the major transits where Sun, Mercury, Venus, Mars for the first 2 weeks will be in the sign of Sagittarius, and in the last 2 weeks will be pretty much all together in the sign of Capricorn. So naturally, the first 2 weeks and the last 2 weeks are going to have very different type of results. So I hope you understand where I was coming from during this forecast. So I believe I covered all the major life areas for my Aquarius Kumbha Rashi friends. I hope you gained good insight from this. Have a wonderful month and a happy new year 2026. For the 12th and final sign, Pisces, which is Meen Rashi. Let's talk about your career area first this month. Your ascendant Lord Jupiter itself will be aspecting the career house all month long. In the first half of the month, there will be a very strong conjunction of Mercury, Venus, Sun, Mars, even Moon for a few days. So your career house will be powerfully activated. Even Saturn will be aspecting the career house, which means some major transformations and changes can take place. And for the most part, it will be positive because Jupiter, which rules the career house, is itself aspecting it. That means basically desired job transfers to a different department, to a new location, clearing or acing job interviews if you're unemployed. It can mean bonus, promotion, salary increment that might be long overdue finally happens because all these four planets will even transit to the 11th house in the second half of the month in the sign of Capricorn, which is the house of gains, desires, wish fulfillment, money flow. So, naturally, a very progressive, growth oriented, profitable, and successful month is seen for Pisces people. And if you are running the right kind of major and minor planetary period, which is the Dasha, Bhukti, and even the Pratyantar Dasha, then lo and behold, you can reach tremendous heights this month and achieve unstoppable progress. If I talk about business area, then business wise, it is going to be a good month for the most part, because your business lord Mercury will be quite well placed throughout the month. And so you will be able to make some good business deals, decisions, because even Saturn is aspecting your business house, which means that maybe even if you're doing a business with foreign lands, any sort of foreign connections, that can prove to be helpful, because Saturn not only rules your 12th house, but it also rules the 11th house of social network, friend circle, the people you come in, contact with on a frequent basis. So overall, if you maintain, if you are prudent with your business decisions, you are not too impulsive and hasty, you take your time to carefully make those decisions, implement your business strategies, then you are going to have a phenomenal month business wise as well, and quite profitable as the month progresses. Health, sorry, finance. In terms of financial health, I will say it is going to be a very strong month for you, because your wealth lord itself, Mars, will be first directionally strong in the 10th house, Digbali, then it will become exalted in the 11th house, and your 11th lord is transiting in your first house itself, which means that money flow will be coming your way. You will naturally attract abundance of money this month. Although some expenses will also be on the cards, but overall, financially, you will feel very solid this month and much better off than the previous months. So, financially, it is looking to be an excellent month. Health. Health wise, it is going to be one thing I forgot to mention. Financially, avoid high risk speculative investments like cryptocurrency, penny stocks, gambling, betting, especially in the last 2 weeks, or you can even suffer from losses. That is why I said you have to be prudent, wise with your investments and money. Coming back to health, it is going to be pretty much a good month for you. I'm not seeing any sort of concerns, unless you are running like Ketu Dasha or Bhukti, or maybe you are running Rahu Dasha Bhukti or Surya Dasha Bhukti. And if these planets are afflicted in your natal chart, especially Ketu or Surya, Ketu and Sun, then there can be some slight hiccups. But other than that, for the most part, you are going to have sound health pretty much throughout the month. If I talk about love life, for relationship area, for single people wanting to get into a relationship, the last 2 weeks can provide some opportunities that might come your way, and you should explore those. If you are really desiring a relationship, be proactive, go out on dates, get to meet new people. It can be a refreshing kind of month. If I talk about those couples already in a relationship, this month will be quite interesting, especially the last 2 weeks, where you might get some unexpected surprises, some good, some bad, as in some challenging situations can also arise in the relationship with your partner. But again, if you're running the right kind of dasha bhukti, then some really positive changes and some really nice surprises can also be on the cards. But overall, your relationship will be filled with a lot of passion, intensity. But just be careful with your speech, because sometimes words can hurt and cause more damage than actual actions. If I talk about marriage, for those people wanting to actually get married, this month can be quite a good month for that. Depends again if you're running the right kind of major and minor planetary period, or even the pratyantar dasha. If it is of a good planet like Mercury, Jupiter, something along those lines, then marriage can be possible. So be open minded, and if you don't have someone on the horizon, then the last 2 weeks there can be some good proposals, alliances, the right kind of matches that might come your way in terms of marriage. Those couples already married will experience, for the most part, a lot of enjoyment, bliss, harmony, peace, stability in their married life, as long as you are loyal, honest, and truthful with your spouse. Travel, in terms of short distance travel journey, the time throughout the month is looking to be good for the most part. Just do not speed and drive your vehicle and follow the rules. In terms of long distance travel journey and vacation, this entire month is looking to be very supportive and extremely beneficial for the same. So you can certainly embark on any major long distance travel that you had planned for. Education, in terms of primary education, for those students pursuing high school bachelor's, the time is looking to be favorable throughout the month and you will make good academic progress. Whereas for higher education, those students pursuing master's, PhD program, postdoc, the time once again is looking to be quite supportive throughout the month. And if you put in the hard work and effort, you will definitely make good academic progress. Finally, children. So, for those women looking to conceive who are desiring to have a child, the last 2 weeks of this month can be a game changer. It can lead to some developments, possibly positive, but again, largely depends on your specific natal chart, your fifth lord, its position, its dignity, whether it's exalted, debilitated, in own sign, in neutral sign, in enemy sign, in great friend sign, in great enemy sign, in what nakshatra. Is it Sadhaka nakshatra? Is it Naidhana nakshatra? Is it Mitra nakshatra? Is it Ati Mitra nakshatra? What degree is it placed? Right? These like conjunctions, aspects, D9 position, a lot of things need to be specifically analyzed to get more precise results. For from generalized perspective, this month, the last 2 weeks can be quite interesting for those women who are desiring to have children. Finally, for those people already having children, the last 2 weeks of this month can involve a lot of dealings with your children. You will spend a lot of time with them. There will be interaction. There will be good moments, happy moments, some challenging moments, some sad moments. So you will experience it all this month. The first 2 weeks will be mediocre, it'll be status quo. And the last 2 weeks, you will experience some major transformations, possibly in your relationship with your children. So I believe I covered all the major life areas for my Pisces Meen Rashi friends. I hope you found this video insightful. I hope you have a very nice month of Jan 2026, the first month in the new year. And I wish you and your family a very, very happy new year 2026. All the best and God bless.